all without fans, isn't it? You play a football match without fans, isn't it? It can be the greatest game in the world. If there are no people there to watch, it becomes nothing.
And to Johnson. Johnson. And a ball by Johnson. Larson. Oh, he's in. Henrik Larsson! That is sensational! Nakamura. He has done it. Is it not just typical?
The game is over. The Rebels have won. Champions, that's who we are.
What is happening, guys? What is happening? Tuesday, the 12th of July, and it's another episode of the Jungle Gyms. McGinty and Paddy in the house. What's happening, guys?
I'll let Paddy speak first.
Mate, I fucking love it.
I don't know why I'm
telling
telling
you.
this out.
I love that intro. That's the best intro out. I don't give a fuck who says it. I might be biased, but I don't care. That is.
You are biased, but you're also true, mate.
Well, I can just biasly through then. Here we go.
I love it. A lot of hard work, sweat and tears, and different versions of that introduction went through the summer holidays there, but I love it. People are like, what different versions the same as last year? I'm like, someone did.
Is it?
Hard work.
Is it really?
Hard work.
Is it really?
I put in a different quote.
You did.
It's hard work, mate.
I know, controversial, changing it from we don't stop to we are champions.
Champions, that's who we are. The only thing is, I need Ange at the end of the season when we won a treble and the Champions League. I need him to come out with some other inspirational quote for next year's video.
Like fucking the pussy or something. Like,
well, I mean, if he says that at some point through this year, I'm going to put that in the video, no doubt.
Hopefully, Slide tackles somebody on the pitch when we play Rangers, so that we can put in like a kind of a missing photo that you've got rid of.
I had to add something from this season again, so something had to move. But I got Keane Tierney back in. That was a controversial thing. I got in the police officer Lustig. I'll fix it next year.
Was that for your YMCA fucking fantasies? Was it?
Well, we'll get in some cowboys at some point. We've
already got through here the new mate. Carry on.
Wait, Carter Vickers dressing up.
Right,
leave your horse at the door. The boys are ready to go.
No brother.
Oh, hey, that's enough.
To the viewers, thank you for joining us for another Tuesday TikTok edition of the Jungle Gyms podcast. So, of course, go and hit the like button, give us a comment. That's what Tuesday's all about. Hope everybody's doing well. And by the way, it was pretty kind of shady earlier on the day weather-wise, but my God, it is fucking warm outside, man. It really is. But that's dedication from the Jungle Gyms doing another pod when we should be outside getting a bit of sun. So tonight we plan to talk about the pre-season tour that's going on right now with Austria, how Celtic have got on. We've already played 2 games. We've got a further 4 scheduled, I believe. On top of that, we're going to be talking about transfers. Of course, what else we're going to be talking about during the mid-season, during the pre-season. So transfers in and out. We're going to be talking about the rumour of the Bhoys in Japan. So quite an unexpected but important thing that Celtic should be exploiting the link between us and the Japanese market with the 4 Japanese boys we've got on our books. And I guess apart from that, we'll talk about a shite as well. McGinty, that is a beautiful top that you're wearing. Care to discuss that, please?
A little bit. It is probably the second best Mexico shirt you could ever get, beaten only by the one that came out the year before. This is the imprint on this is actually just the Mexico badge on itself, whereas the one in '98 I think had the actual Aztec kind of stonework kind of depiction on it, which I think just looks a little bit better. But the price difference from this one at 100 or the other one at probably about 300-400. Yeah, I'll go with this one just now. But it's an absolute classic, I think. What a fit as well. This, by the way, I'm no skinny boy. I'm between a medium and large. This is a small.
Is it?
Mental. This is the 90s for you. Big baggy stuff. Mental. What about yourself there? What's that little green and white number you've got on there?
So this is from the mid-90s. Tommy Burns type. I really like this. I know that we had some bad days under this one, but I really enjoyed this strip. I stole it from my dad. Thankfully, I fit him. I fit his top.
I tell you what, if I knew I was coming on live with fucking Colin and Justin tonight, I'd have took the night off.
Sorry, Paddy. What's it you're sporting there? Is that a new piece of attire?
I say like training tap, right? Go on, mate.
It's nice. I like the badge.
Thanks very much.
Looks kind of similar to his.
Beginning, what is that?
New gear, mate. New range.
It does look quite good. I like the shade of green on that.
What's the cup that you're drinking for? I know that this is pure. It's so boring to talk about. What's that?
So this is my Shetland Puffins tea mug.
Shetland Puffins, rock and roll. Here, by the way, one wee comment that you made, you said about Ange doing like a flight tackle, and I was thinking, like sometimes Hi Margaret, I hope you're doing well. See, sometimes tempers can kind of flare onto the pitch from the coaching staff of the manager. I think that we've got quite a placid bunch. So who do you think would be the most likely to get into a fight with the opposition, whether it be Postecoglou, John Kennedy, Harry Kewell, etc., etc.? Who do you think would be the most prone to get into a wee fisticuffs?
I reckon Gavin Strachan's a dark horse.
Nah, I think Strachan.
I reckon he'd bite your face off.
Proven no. Kennedy and Strachan. I'm not going to beat it up on the. I'm not going to beat the bush again about how terrible they were as coaches under Lennart. We all been there. They're fine as hell. They done good last season, but I think they've shown that they can be a little bit kind of like reserved when it comes to actually speaking their voice. So let's see what Harry Kewell can bring, if he's going to be a wee animated soul on the side of the pitch. If not, then Ange, your headmaster in school, is going to get a belt and a cane and skip the side of your face with it. I wouldn't like to be on the receiving end of his wrath.
I don't
know. Why you let me talk on this?
It's starting to get a bit of fucking old BDSM territory.
I think to plant a virus rather than swing a punch. Right, okay, so pre-season friendlies. We've had two already. Wiener Victoria, we beat them 7-0. And the most recent, Rapid Vienna, that was on Saturday, 3 each. And obviously there's a bit of bad blood between us and Rapid Vienna, as we mentioned in our last week's podcast. Again, going back to 1984. But anyway, Paddy, I'm going to hold my hands up. I was out this weekend. I was out in the East Coast, so I missed the game. But the Rapid Vienna one, I heard it was much more of a full-blooded encounter. Go on and talk to me. Finished 3 each. What did you take from it?
Well, obviously, the last time we done a pod was last Tuesday, and I know we kind of said that we would come on at the weekend and do a roundup. But do you know what, guys? It was absolutely roasting all the weekend. So there was no chance I was sitting in here sweating my balls off just to talk to you lovely people. So, obviously the first game against Wiener was pretty much what you would expect. Well, it was actually a wee bit more than you would expect. Generally, we kind of come out, played positive. We went for the jugular. Obviously, Johnny Kenny got a couple of goals. Could have had a hat trick if big Mr. Julian didn't fucking steamroll him out the way.
I was actually just watching those highlights, and I've only just seen the goals recently after seeing the highlights. And fair play to Julian getting up there and just getting about the goals and doing what he needs to do. But he totally stole that off Kenny. Totally stole it.
But hey, it's one of these things that listen, if that was a competitive game and it was a goal that mattered, you wouldn't give a fuck who scored it. It'd be nice for a confidence booster for the wee fella. But listen, it's pre-season. Pretty much strolled that game, did well attacking wise. The Rapid game was a bit different. That was pretty tasty fairly on. You could see that there was a bit of a nut in there. There was plenty of tackles coming in, aggressive as well. There was, at one point, fucking Carter Vickers was kind of staring into somebody's soul, at one point. But attack-wise, we were good. We were good on the counter. We were good at the pressing. Defensively, fucking horrendous. That boy. Over the course of the 2 games, and I know it's only been 2 games, and I know I've kind of made this pact to use that I'm not going to be as critical or moany or whatever you want to call it. Uragide over the course of those 2 games, albeit pre-season, has been absolutely fucking shocking.
Well, we'll touch on Uragide. I know that Ralston and Juranovic, our 2 preferred right backs, have had like knocks or whatever. I think they're expected to come back in the next game tomorrow against Banik Ostrava. So Uragide had to deputise at right back. I know that when he was on loan for that team Oostend in Belgium, he was playing at centre back. That I believe is his preferred position. That's where he's earned relative plaudits. But Ange has put him in at right back, maybe not his preferred position. And I'm going to hold my hands up. I watched him at the Celtic Vigo game. I watched him live, and I came home and I watched the TV coverage, and I was equally unimpressed with both platforms. But the Yankees pretty shite.
I have to agree with Paddy. You don't want to take too much from these games. They're friendlies at the end of the day. They're all about getting match sharpness and fitness. There's some players that you're looking at and you're saying, right, it's good to see Kyogo back. He's looking really sharp. Tati's looking quite sharp. It's always interesting seeing new signings like Benabai playing and just seeing what style of player he is, but you're not expecting him to be up to speed too much, although he is coming from mid-season, I believe. So it's nice to see some of these things at the same time. And you get other players like Forrest, Kenny, stuff like that, Vata coming on. Again, good to see them, but you're not expecting them to light up the world straight away, be it the experience or the younger side of it. And then you look at the back line with Julian. Again, we know what to expect with Julian, but we know he's coming off 18 months now since he really played much football for us. So we know we're expecting him to take a while to pick up to speed if he ever gets back up to speed. So there's lots of things you just kind of accept. This is all about fitness. This is all about match sharpness. But sometimes you can just see a player like Uragide and you can just see he has not got the caliber or the skill sets or the awareness or the positional sense or anything to cut it at the level of Celtic. It's going to take some miracle to see him turn around his Celtic career because he just does not look up to it at all.
Well, I know we sound a wee bit pessimistic and that and quite moany, but it's no all moaning. Obviously, that's something that we've kind of been talking about amongst ourselves, so we're desperate to get in there and get it out of our chest. But like the first game, I mean, we started off with like Joe Hart, Bernabei, the defence. Who was the defence again? Vickers and
Vickers and
Welsh, was it?
Welsh and Vickers played one, and then you had Lowell and Julian in the second game.
That's the second game, aye. So the first game we more or less played a decent team, and then the second time, the defence, it was Welsh. It was playing. It was Lowell, Julian, guys that need minutes, guys that need game time. You had James McCarthy played. All these guys played all right. You know, Bernabei, the first game, he was flying up and down the park. It was his first game for Celtic. He looked very, very confident. He looks as if he knows how to play that inverted fullback. Because he was basically in centre mid for a lot of the game, and then there was direct free kicks coming over for the right hand side. He was running right over to the right hand side and taking them in swingers. So you've got a guy that's got confidence, doesn't shy. The second game he played again, sometimes his passing was a wee bit kind of wayward, but again it's pre-season. You can allow stuff like that as long as they're taking something positive. But then he was playing with guys like Lawal and that, you know, and he was pretty decent. I mean, for me, he's looked a guy who looks to be the more solid aggressor out of the two centre backs. He looks as if he's the leader. He doesn't look like a 19, 20-year-old boy, whatever, if that's the age, you know.
But again, we guys like Vata and Kenny, and I think Kenny done himself crowd, and he done very well to get his 2 goals. Should have had a hat-trick and all the rest of it. I'm not going to get overly excited and say that John Kenny needs to be starting ahead of Kyogo or Giamakis, because that's just stupid. Same with Bosun Lowell. He's not going to start ahead of Starfelt or Carter Vickers or Julian or whoever replaces Julian if he moves on, because they are your experienced guys. But it's nice to see them have confidence. It's nice to see them want to take a bit of leadership in it and kind of showcase themselves, because that does them well. If you can keep that up into the first couple of games of the season, they start to stake a claim for themselves. But again, like I say, you look at other guys like Ugidi, you look at sorry to say it, you look at McCarthy. For me, yes, he played reasonably well, but you have to remember the caliber of team that we're playing against. It's all about fitness. I mean, that first game, they were not a football club that we should be comparing ourselves to in any shape or form. They were not a challenge to us. So when do you, regardless of the opposition, right, I know exactly what you're saying, and I totally get that, but when was the last time that you can remember Celtic starting off their pre-season tour and get out and play with that kind of positivity, that kind of aggression in the very first game? Usually, as you say, it's a kind of easy Aussie encounter. You'll maybe have somebody trying to make something of themselves.
I think pre-season friendlies are easily forgettable, and that's why I wouldn't be able to answer your question as to when was the last time we went out with positivity. I think the pre-season friendlies, of course, you're looking to gel the new recruits, improve the fitness levels, and it's time to implement coaching ideas, such as coaching Bernabe to play the kind of inverted fullback position, to see if he can come to grips with that during the pre-season. And of course, just everybody gelling together and things like that. But one other thing for the Rapid Vienna game, what did you make of Turnbull? I heard that he had a quite decent game and he linked up well with Kyogo.
Yes, obviously I've been a critic of his for a while, but no, he set one up for Kyogo and Kyogo set one up for him, so there was a good link up there. But the midfield, I've actually been quite impressed with the midfield. McCarthy came in, was solid enough. You know, his passing looks to be nice and crisp and sharp. There's some rumours doing the round that he's lost X amount of weight. 4 kilos was the rumoured amount. And you can see that he does look a bit sharper. Hatate just looks like a new man. The 2 games, he's almost been like that attacking box-to-box midfielder. Dare I say it, almost kind of Petrov type. His energy's there. You can see he just kind of looks like he's got a fresh lease of life. McGregor's playing with the mask, so he's unmasked. Who I call that unmasked? I mean, even Mikey Johnson's come in and looks full of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
You know, right. So we're seeing a lot of positives as well as a few negatives. But come on, it's only 2 games in, so we can't write everybody off. But we still need to discuss these things.
I'm not writing everybody off. I'm just writing Urquidi off. Even McCarthy, I don't think I think he's lost what he used to have. But he's looking half decent enough. I'm not completely going to write it off. I don't expect much. Kind of on the fence a little bit.
By the way,
Urquidi, no.
Just going to get back to this one. I'm not exactly sure, Aaron, how tall is Lawal? Like he says, 5'9", surely he's bigger. I'm not exactly sure what size he is, to be specific, but he's definitely bigger than 5'9", probably 6'2"
I'm
or something.
5'9", 5'10". He's bigger than me, for sure.
Well, the 3 of us went to that Celtic B game last season, and we saw while he was playing it, and he was head and shoulders above everybody in the Celtic team. At least is by far the most physically dominant. But I would be very surprised if he's less than 6 foot. So
yeah, same.
Certainly not.
Moving on to, let's mix up a wee bit. The boys in Japan. Paddy, where are you going to take your mask at?
Never, mate. This is mine. Beautiful face.
Until one of these days it'll be like a fucking...
I tell you what, Kennedy. You're lucky I'm on the tee tonight, mate. If I was pushed, I'd be fucking slaughtering you, but it's a new me, mate. New season, new me.
Like a stupid episode. Again, I ask you this one because you're into the kind of the market and the financial side. You do see the benefit of these things. Boys in Japan. So we're planning a tour of Japan in the summer of 2023. This is the news that we're hearing against the J League team. So this is probably the perfect time to capitalise on this link that we've got. Long may it continue. One interesting thing I did hear before I hand the mic over to you is when we heard from that guy, Dan Orlowitz, the J League expert, one curious thing he said about the football culture from a fan's perspective, they don't necessarily support a team, they support the player. So if a player moves to a new club, they might buy a top for that club just in support of that player. That's a curious thing. But anyway, the benefits of the Tour of Japan, what do you think?
Oh, financially and kind of spreading the brand, massive. We've seen it before with Nakamura, obviously. You know, how many fans did we have? I think we were the first British club to open up a supporters club in Japan off the back of Nakamura. You've seen it with guys like Kagawa, who've been at Dortmund and Man United. They get a lot of exposure. Man United, obviously, a big obvious one in the Asian countries anyway. But I think having guys like Hitachi there, Kyogo and stuff, they're absolutely loved over there. They are at the peak end of what Japanese football is expecting from what we understand it over the next kind of few years. So I expect that we're going to go over there. I expect all four of them will play. I'm guessing we're going to be playing Yokohama, Ange Postecoglou's old team, and I would love it to be Vissel Kobe and to see if Iniesta was still playing for them next year, because if we could get him to play a game against Celtic, I think that would be quite something to see him again, shaking hands with some of the Celtic players as he has done in the past for Barcelona. I think they're likely to be your two teams. Maybe a third one or maybe a second one comes from Australia to come up. But it's money. It's a money-spinning exercise. The fan base in Japan is going to be absolutely massive. Not for Celtic, especially, as you said. They'll follow the players. We've got four of them of the next stars of Japan for the next kind of 5 to 10 years. Yeah, we're going to get a big turnout and we're going to get a lot of fans buying a lot of merchandise on the back of this.
The World Cup coming up right now in the winter in Qatar. That's going to be very timely in terms of enhancing the reputations and therefore the connection with Celtic and Japan. So more power to us, more power to the Japanese.
The only thing I would say is surely this is going to be all dependent on what happens throughout the season. If we have to play qualifiers and stuff, this might hamper it a little bit or might pull it forward. But if we get into the Champions League group stage, no qualifiers and stuff, as we have this year, I imagine this thing is going to go ahead, slap bang in the middle of the pre-season, as in right now, this time next year. And it'll be great to see it.
Paddy, I've never actually travelled abroad to see Celtic, but a wee summer holiday in Japan, that'd be something else, watching them play over there.
That'd be all right, wouldn't it?
Any bad. We summer holiday. Just get a Ryanair trip.
I don't know, mate. I don't know. I don't know really much about Japan. I'm not that culture. You know what I mean? I don't know if they do you think they would be? Do you think they'd be happy with a bunch of fucking mad mental Celtic supporters all going on, getting pushed and kissing their faces and all that?
Well, it might not be able to. I think the tourism is still pretty much shut down just now because of COVID. So again, that might be depending on that. But then, how many fans are going to travel from this side of the world over to Japan for a friendly? You'll get maybe a couple hundred people who would religiously follow Celtic anywhere, which is great. All the power to them. But these games are going to sell out through the Japanese support, regardless. If we take
one thing's for sure, we probably tell better.
Oh, I've saw the videos and the highlights of him sitting in the stands in the last couple of games already. I dare say he'll be saving up his yen already.
Shameless.
Well, I forgot to mention, in terms of the pre-season friendlies, we've got the game tomorrow. Baník Ostrava. I believe that they finished 5th in the Czech Republic League last season. So I think that we're going to be actually travelling to their home ground, and they've got a capacity of about 15,000. So because they're going to be a top tier, top flight team, hopefully it'll be the same kind of competitiveness as what we enjoyed against Rapid Vienna. Wiener Victoria, they were an amateur team, so Asian Cup 2020. going to lose players. All right. Thank you for the insight, Ridzi. Right, transfers, boys and girls. I know that's the fucking flavour of the beat for all Celtic podcasts.
Gav, see before we go into transfers, mate, I know there's a few comments here I'll try and bring up, but there's been a few there for Frank, and Frank's been talking about the transfers, basically saying, the Champions League's kind of creeping round the corner, and he's not really too happy about the position that we're in regards of kind of personnel for midfield. So one of the previous comments was about getting into the Champions League with Hatate, Kalmak, and somebody else. Wasn't happy with it. So there's the last one. The Champions League group stages are only ever for Europe to be the best, and us as a wee pot 4 team are only going to be seriously punished for all the things we get away with every week in the SPL.
Although that might sound negative on the surface of it, but you can't. It's difficult to argue against some of the logic there. That's what I would say. So don't jump down the throat of Frank. Yeah, we're still looking for that physical player that would really help in the Champions League, and obviously quality. You don't want to just buy in numbers. You want to bring in quality to challenge for a first team jersey. But we've done well so far, but there's still a long way to go between now and the end of the transfer window. So I'm going to trust in Ange, but I do agree with the sentiment of Frank. But at the moment, yeah, I think we would get somewhat found out.
And midfield, across the board, though.
I think we're strongest in attack. I think defence and midfield we can definitely improve upon.
Oh, aye, 100%.
Yeah. McGinty, how far off it do you think we are if we had the first Champions League game tomorrow?
Who are we playing against? Pot 1 teams will get absolutely spanked. We're not up to sharpness and fitness yet. And as you say, we're missing a key midfielder, be it somebody who's finally stepping up, i.e. Hatate or somebody, or a key defender. I think we're missing 2 quality players. We've talked about the midfielder before in here. We need that, not so much a Wanyama type powerhouse, but we need somebody who's going to have a presence in the midfield, be it a creative presence or the defensive presence, one of the two, something that's just going to be taking us up a level in some aspect. Until we get that, be it somebody steps up or we buy that person, I think we're going to get found out a little bit in the midfield against your pot 1 and pot 2 teams of the bulk of them. But we should be going toe-to-toe with teams in pot 3. Look at last year, Real Betis. A little bit naive, a little bit kind of shaky around the edges, a little bit wet behind the ears, if you want to say. Angie's first season, players still getting used to the formations, the setup, and the style. And we went toe-to-toe with them. Same with Leverkusen. We could have won those games. Naivety and being a little bit stupid at the back cost us. But we still scoring, 3+ goals in these games. We're still capable to take it to teams that would traditionally be pot 3. So why not?
Indeed. I still maintain that the Real Betis game away, that was one of the most entertaining games from my point of view, and seeing the philosophy of Postecoglou, even though we failed 4-3 in the end. And of course, the Leverkusen game away from home, we did very well. We were up at one point, I think about 10 minutes to go, and then we capitulated. And it's that experience, and maybe that's what Frank is alluding to, the experience bringing in quality, the players that can see the rhythm of a game and how it's changing and be able to settle down the boys. Because I think we again discussed this in last Tuesday, where I think it's only Callum McGregor and Joe Hart who's got proper Champions League experience. There might be, I know that Giacomakis played a couple of games for AEK Athens, but Hart and McGregor definitely the 2 most influential. So I would like to see that. But transfers, we have seen most recently, I think it was announced today, Bolly Bolingoli has signed for Mechelen, the Belgian team. That is a 2-year deal, I believe, that he signed with. So he's not out on loan. He is gone. He has left the building. A disappointing player for Celtic whenever him and Taylor signed roughly at the same point, and for similar fees as well, I think. And I don't know if it's because we always reckon that the foreigner is going to do better than the domestic player, but I think people had higher hopes for Bolly Bolingoli rather than Greg Taylor. But Taylor, after a while, he knuckled down and he made that position his own. Bolly, of course, the controversy, we know all about that, but he's been a disappointment, and best luck to him. I'm not bitter about it. I'd like to see him do well, but, I'll turn back to Celtic. My focus is on them, but definitely a disappointing signing for Celtic. Yeah. All right, Paddy.
What is it?
Paddy's not speaking to us anymore.
Well, sorry, we talked to me there. Can you hear me?
Right,
Aye, boy. Sorry, mate. Aye, boy. Just a total disappointment in every sense. We lost Tierney to Arsenal, 25 million we got in. We reinvested it. £6 million outlet for 2 left backs. One came from Kilmarnock, one came from Rapid Vienna. Of course, as you say, Bolingoli was he was the one that we were looking for to come in and step up. He's the guy that had the European experience. He's part of the Lukaku family, all that kind of stuff. And he'd actually looked pretty good the season before as well. And I think it was against the fucking Rotten Mob. But he played maybe 1 or 2 decent games, was never particularly positionally good or anything like that. Nah, it was just total push overall. He fucked us over really during COVID. He went for his hole and we ended up getting shafted. But listen, as what it is, it's done. It's another £3 million wasted on another fucking dud, which we've done time and time again. So good. I'm glad that we're getting rid of these guys. As you say, no just out on loan, getting them to fuck. He went away to Turkey, didn't he? On loan. He went to Russia on loan. He cancelled that, and now he's been back here lingering about. So yes, glad to be seen the back of him.
And Soro, it's been announced that he's away on loan to a top flight team in the Portuguese league called Aruca. So a 1-year loan deal for Soro. McGinty, we had kind of high hopes for him whenever with the debacle in Dubai, when we came back and we had a bunch of players out, and we had to depend on the likes of Turnbull and Soro. We thought at one point that would be the new look midfield with them two alongside Callum McGregor. We did momentarily have high hopes for Soro. How would you describe the way that his career has fizzled out at Parkhead? Is your volume?
Sorry, muted myself. Much like Bolingoli's, you got excited at first when he comes in. He was getting painted as our version of Kanté and stuff like that. He comes in with all the enthusiasm and all the energy in the world, and we're all thinking, right, zone it in, control that enthusiasm because you'll give away reckless free kicks. He never really did it. Never really. I think we were under the Lennon year when he was trying to break in. I think we were just so annoyed with the kind of backwards play of guys like Brown at the time, that anything that was coming in that was giving us any sort of excitement, any sort of energy, or anybody showing any sort of will to play football was like a breath of fresh air for us. But we were quickly fooled and quickly realised he was not quite up to the speed. He needs a lot of coaching, or else he needs to drop down a lot of divisions so that he's actually looking better he is. Because again, likes of Bolingoli, just not cut out for this level. He's just not got the awareness and the maturity to play in a side like Celtic where he needs to do certain tasks. He can't just run around randomly and think that he's the bee's knee. He needs to control it all and focus his energy.
Right. It was a bull in a china shop. We've got Woodsy here. So just Ajeti and Julian to get out then. I guess we keep McCarthy for Paddy. And that is an ongoing theme that we and me, McGinty, and the rest of the fans are seeing. Paddy is sticking up for McCarthy, and I'm finding it quietly entertaining.
Yeah, I don't. What else are you going to do? You're just going to sit here and moan at a guy that's contracted for 4 years. He's clearly going to be part of something, so I might as well fucking stick up for him. But there's another one for Frank. Back one Jansen's day, he signed the 28-year-old Champions League winner, Paul Lambert, and then Martin O'Neill in his time, the 30-year-old Neil Lennon, and that's both the type we're screaming out for. Aye, absolutely, but obviously back then, You know, it was obviously easier to get closer to the players. You know, the golf and fucking affordability now is just it's beyond the fucking galaxies for Celtic. But what we're probably better doing is trying to get a guy like a Joe Hart. Joe Hart's played the Champions League. Joe Hart's played so many games for England. I think he's the most capped fucking something for England. So guys like that who we can take a punt on and are maybe a bit low in confidence, we can bring them in, give them another home to settle in. Or a guy who's over the hill but has still got a bit left. Like a Kolo Toure, for example, which is one of the kind of most recent ones. We brought a guy like that in, he ended up being able to cover, bringing players on, end up coaching, blah, blah, blah. But no, you're right, Frank. You're absolutely right in the sense that we need experience. I would love to see kind of experienced centre-back coming in, replacing Julian, and then that gives you your four defenders, Gav, which is Vickers, Starfelt, X, and then it's a battle between Lawal and Welsh for the fourth choice. But and obviously this ever elusive midfielder that everybody seems to want, but we don't know if Celtic are actually going to sign. Is that Postecoglou's model to go out there and sign this kind of British centre, deep line defensive midfielder, ball winner, water carrier, whatever you want to call it? Is he going to go and do that? Is he going to persist with guys like Gucci, who I've still not got a clue what kind of fucking player this wee guy is? I really don't know. Is McCarthy going to step in? We don't know. But one thing's for sure, I think we would all be a bit more at ease if we signed a couple of guys and just added to the squad as well.
On that point that Frank made, the examples of Paul Lambert, 20-year-old, and Neil Lennon, 30-year-old. Obviously, we saw the benefit on the part, but it's a good point about what's the willingness of the current Celtic board to spend good money. Presuming we can't get them that type of player on the Bosman, what's the willingness of our board to spend good money on a player of that ilk where we're not going to get a sell-on value? So,
well, we started on it this season, mate. We spent 17 million before we'd even kicked a ball in pre-season. So that's a good sign. But again, like I don't think it's going to be on the board this one. I think it's going to be on the Celtic staff, i.e. Postecoglou. What type of player does he want to bring in? We don't know because it's went all quiet.
And speaking of things,
other than one.
Speaking of things going quiet, but the chat about Jordan Larson has gone cold. There was another player, Vinicius Souza, the Brazilian defensive midfielder. He's now signed on a 1-year loan for Espanyol. And now the guy who is apparently his replacement, the tabloid replacement anyway, we're being linked with a guy called Fausto Rivera, a 22-year-old defensive midfielder. He's got 8 caps for the Argentina under-23s. He played for Argentina at the Olympics last year. So he looked to be the next man that the papers are throwing up. But even that Vinicius Souza, I know that was a kind of a long-running saga in the media. I'm not overly disappointed. Obviously, you want to get, if it was supposedly the number one name on the list of Postecoglou, I'm not overly bothered because mind we were trying to get that guy Henry, a Belgian centre forward, and he eventually opted to sign for Venezia, and they just got relegated. We got Giakoumakis instead, and look how Giakoumakis has turned out. So all is not lost whenever you don't get your number one signing, if we're led to believe that is the case. McGinty, the romantic links for Larson, it's not over, it's not done and dusted. He's not signed a contract with anyone. We can still get him on a Bosman, but of course it needs to suit both parties. Where are you with that one?
Like you said last week, for me, it's a signing that I think the club should make on behalf of the manager, really, unless Ange is adamant not to want him in, that he doesn't want that player, that he actually has somebody else in mind. I don't think Ange is chasing another striker, to be honest. If you look at the kind of the possible front three of, Jota, Maeda, Johnson on the left, Forrest and Abada on the right, with possibilities of Kenny playing on the right. You've got up front Kyogo, Giakoumakis. Kenny can play up there. Maeda can play up there. Abada showed that he can play up there quite competently. I think we've got plenty in the first team squad and in the B squad to fill those three positions without needing Larson. But having Larson would just bolstered that pool of talent. And I think he is a talent. He's a player that would definitely get us a few goals. As a free signing for his name and all the rest of it, it's nostalgia. It's something that the club probably should do unless the manager's adamant that he does not want him, which I don't think it would be. I think Ange would see the benefit from a commercial side and from even just a dressing room side. I don't imagine he's a bad egg or anything either. So having a guy who's going to be able to kind of bring that nostalgia back just through his name alone. I know he's not his dad. I'm not going to hope that we compare him to his dad or anything, but just having him around might just kind of give you a bit more of a feel-good factor. Not that we need it right now. It would be a no-brainer for merchandise and commercial sides alone. It'll get us a few goals and definitely in free signing. You would be selling for £5 to £10 million in a year or two, no doubt, if he was playing fairly decent. If not, he might end up staying for 7 years like his old man and actually having a good career. But on a free transfer, do it. Absolutely do it.
And Paddy will be linked with Dylan Reid, 17-year-old St Mirren midfielder. So I know that you've got a bit of knowledge about the St Mirren players. Have you seen much of this boy?
Yes, he's decent big boy. He's sensible. He plays kind of deeper. One of these guys kind of quietly does his business on the pitch. So he's definitely highly rated among the Scotland squads and that. So for 125 grand, I would definitely be taking a punt. Whether he wants to come or no, it's a different story. But we've definitely made a bid for him. So we'll see how that one plays out, mate. But I definitely think that we should be looking. Sorry, Ange said that would be a B team signing, right? So he would go straight into the B team. He's just turned 18, so you can see where that you can see why that would happen. But I think that we really need to do is put focus like that on getting young players into Celtic. I mean, look at the players that's just left Scotland in recent days. You've got Lewis Ferguson has went to Bologna, I think. You've got Josh Doig for Hibs, who went to Verona, was it? The same place that Liam Henderson went to. So, I mean, even if these guys don't come in and get to the career that you would hope of, you're still at least buying talent in Scotland and you're keeping the talent in Scotland. You know, try and develop them into a player for your team, of course, first, foremost, but if not, at least you've got some sort of sell on. So I think we really need to do is certainly go and kind of pick the talents for our own country and get them in first.
Now, normally, in fact, before we move on to that, departures. The departures were actually up at number 13 for departures. So just to run you through the list, Dembele, Ross Doohan, Kerr McInroy, Barkas, Bolly Bolingoli, Beaton, Rogic, Sorrell, Luca Connell, Liam Henderson, Afolabi, Scales, and Montgomery. So Ange has not been slow in pulling the trigger and getting the people who are not going to have a future this coming season, out the door. I like the fact that he's been very, very proactive with that. Now, we normally do a wee feature on this day, and you would be kind of wondering, what am I going to say? 12th of July, what happened on this day? But I'm actually going to hand it over to Paddy.
Skip that. Fuck off.
Actually, on this day in 1990, John Collins signed for Celtic for $1 million from Hibs. And in 1994, Tommy Burns became the Celtic manager. That's two good memories from the 90s that happened in July. And Paddy, you're looking a bit casual tonight, so I'm going to put you on the spot. I've not even give you a heads up about this. I've got a few questions about what happened in July. See if you can fill in the blanks. Now, just because you parade yourself as the brains of this operation, the Jungle
Hey, never.
If you're stuck, you can ask McGinty. If you want, you can ask the audience. So this is very much a poor man's who wants to be a Timaloy. I don't fucking know.
Well, fucking thanks for springing at me, you prick.
You're looking for too far. Right, so these are things that happened in July. So in 1974, Celtic sold Davy Hay for $225,000 to which football team?
Chelsea.
Well done. Well done. In 1989, we signed the English defender Paul Elliott from which Italian team?
Oh, fuck. Was it Pisa? Something like that?
I was dying to give you a hint to say the lean a wee bit to the left.
Oh, was it Pisa? Yes! Like, I'm coming.
Right. Number 3, in 2009, Tony Mowbray's 3.8 million signing.
West Brom. Mark Andrew, unfortunately.
Well done, well done. You're trying to get 2 points, but it's only a 1 pointer there. In 1924, going
Fuck
back.
off.
What was that? 98 years ago. God almighty. 1924, a famous Celtic was born in Belfast.
Charlie Toy.
Right. Doing no bad, McGinty, huh?
I don't need to do anything. I'm loving this.
Right,
I don't need to
2010,
embarrass myself.
2010, an easy one. A Welsh player signed on a Bosman.
Joe Leslie.
Mm-hmm. 1991, Cascarino. He signs for Celtic for 1.1 million from whom?
Chelsea.
No, we sold him to Chelsea. Did they go back?
Fuck, sorry. West Ham. Fucking.
You could have asked the audience.
Wasn't it Millwall, was it?
It was who?
Millwall.
No, Villa. Aston Villa.
All right, oh.
There. 1 point to Woodsy. Okay, 1945. Jimmy McGrory succeeded who as the Celtic manager? Ask the audience if you want, or your friend McGinty here.
What was the year again, sorry?
1945, Jimmy McGrory succeeded who as the Celtic manager?
1945. Wasn't it Jimmy McStay? McStay, was it? No. Aye.
Well done, Jimmy McStay. He was let go. Two more questions. The Huddle was performed in which year?
96?
No, it was Tony Mowbray's. That would be what, 94? 94, 95. I think.
And last question, maybe McGinty can help you out if you don't know this one. In 2010, Efrain Juarez signed from which Mexican team?
The one with the tiger face on the fucking tap, Pumas.
Well done, mate. Well done. That was 9 questions.
Do you think it's a tiger?
I was going to say it's a tiger face, but obviously it's a fucking puma, isn't it? The name of the club gives it away, doesn't it?
That's pretty good going, mate. Well done. McGinty, how did that seem from your safe vantage point in the Shetlands?
Oh, I'm glad you didn't ask me any of those questions.
Right.
I wouldn't even got FM Wires right. I would have said Santos Laguna.
Another interesting thing that I came across in some of the English Premier League sides this season, they're going to be the reintroduction of the safe standing sections. Now, obviously, Celtic were the what's the word for it? The catalyst, the guinea pig. Were the guinea pig for this, and we've obviously seen it to great aplomb and the North Curve, and it's definitely the choir of the stadium. Whether you like them or not, you cannot deny the amount of atmosphere and noise that they generate. So it's the reintroduction of that in England. Would you like to see that being extended further at Parkhead, a bigger capacity of the standing section? Aye, 1990, mate.
Yeah, it's for me for that one.
Both of you. That's an interesting one.
I would like to see it extended. It's a weird position that we're in because it's on the corner. So where do you extend it? I doubt it's going to extend along the main stand on the lower tier. That would just be a bit odd. So do you extend it up and just make it a whole corner? Do you extend it to the right and make it the lower half of the the East Stand. It's a bit of an odd one where days ago, but I would love to see extended. I would love to see that entire East Stand covered in standing areas, akin to, was it Dortmund with the yellow wall? I think that'd be absolutely superb.
Aye, or if you were to do it in the opposite end of the stadium, you know?
Yeah. I would do it on the same side. I wouldn't go diagonally opposite with it.
Well, there's one for John. How you doing, John? There's a second standing section coming after this season. It's cornered directly across from the North Cup.
Brilliant. I would love to do that. You can see them singing against each other. I think it's great what the atmosphere that they generate. Too often I've been at Parkhead and I'm guilty of it myself.
Well, there's another 2 comments, guys. Can I talk about the stadium as well? So John Kelly posts quite regular as well. How you doing, Pup? Demolish the main stand and complete the arena. And Frank Kennedy agrees. I think we need a new tier in the main stand. I get that people would like to see a full wraparound stadium, but I'm probably just coming for the fact that I grew up pretty close to the stadium and see where my flat was. You could always see into Celtic. You could always see inside Celtic, apart from your fucking flat, because the main tier was completed. So for me, maybe that's just a kind of all romantic idea, but I like it the way it is. I like the front. I like the facade. I don't think you need to raise it up anymore, but obviously, if you do, then you can fit in another, what, 10,000 people or something, maybe?
That would outstrip them. We already earn more compared to Sevco in terms of the season tickets. But if we were to build on that, get another 10,000 bums on seats, that would just, exacerbate our financial superiority over them. That'd be a great thing to see.
Yeah, but certainly, as Sean the Max says there, he's made a comment about the waiting list. It would obviously help to alleviate that, because I know a lot of people like myself and my boy, we're on the waiting list as well. So it is a pretty extensive list, and doesn't always have us been doing any time soon, especially when Celtic are playing so positively.
The only other kind of moments where I think of having a stadium and it's not quite full is under Ronnie Dyla, and you can't.
The banners.
Yeah, you can't always have sustained periods of success. God forbid, whenever Postecoglou leaves, and we're not able to carry that on. Would we ever see reduced capacity at Parkhead? It happened before. Why can't it happen again? I don't want to see that happen, but it's a possibility. But yeah, if we've got the option, again, that's a major decision for the board to think about. And what do you do whenever it's under construction? Because they can't complete that construction in one summer when there's no football. What would we do? Would we relocate, or would we just close down part of that stand? I don't know how they would do it, but a lot of people would probably lose out.
I think they would just close it down. Potentially close it down near the end of the season, do the bulk of the work over the summer, and open it back up kind of just after the start of the season, because they'll need probably a good 4 or 5 months solid, if not longer. Not that I know how buildings work. But we wouldn't relocate for one stand. You remember we played at the Celtic Park with just the north stand and the two sides, not even there until we built them up over the course of, I think we did them 2 seasons, a season each. So it's possible from scratch if you're building on top of the old stand that's there, and they'll figure something out. I would do it though. We've always had waiting lists in the past. We've always had ups and downs. If we know anything, and it's not that we're fickle or glory hunters, but if we know anything, Celtic fans, when they see that the squad is being backed, and we see that we're going places, we back the club again tenfold. We will always back the club. When we see that the board specifically are reining in the budgets, are reining in downsizing and stuff, we get a disgruntled, and yeah, you'll see people kind of like thinking, I'm not buying a season ticket this year. They're no doing it for me. They're no, if they're not investing in it, we're not investing in the board as such, and then to the business. See it how you want, but we've had waiting lists under O'Neill, Strachan, Did we have one under Moby? Probably not. Under Lennon, first time around, we had waiting lists. We had waiting lists under Rodgers. In years of success, we will always have waiting lists. There's definitely a demand there to build up on it.
See listen, I think we could be doing more important stuff than now, like Celtic. But I mean, for me, like, you look at the outside and see the fucking stanchions. For God's sake, give them a fucking lick of paint them white or something. Make the stadium a bit more presentable, and respect to that. It's a beautiful, wonderful, world-class stadium. But you look at fucking Man United Stadium, you look at the fucking bastards along the road in Govan, even they've got the metal bits painted, right? So that's my gripe with that. I've always wanted to see it painted. Outside, let's get the fucking superstore finished. Let's get the museum built. Let's get the hotel built. Let's get all that grunt all done up. The Celtic way, as you know, guys, is absolutely beautiful. At night, it's stunning. Absolutely stunning. We've still got a lot of spare ground round about the stadium that we need to get developed. It's been promised for a long time. And now, as I say, I really do hate to bring these cunts into the conversation, but they've already started on the museum type thing that they've clearly copied the idea of. It's just they start to go and put it in the conception. We've still not done it. So I'd like to see all that getting done first before we talk about any kind of rebuilds or fucking extensions. It would be great to see it, like, but listen, it's still a 60,000 seater stadium at the, you know, what we need to do, mate, is we need to make it a bit more affordable for people to get in. However way we do it, we need to do it, and we need to stop the suits for being able to snap up all the tickets first and foremost. Mm-hmm. And there's forever and ever talk about Barrowfield. I don't think we need to be doing anything with Barrowfield now, because everything is going to be changing this season. I don't know how many people have read about it, but the B team, which is the team that's going to be competing in the Lowland League, they're now going to be training at Lennoxtown exclusively. They won't be training at Barrowfield anymore. So Barrowfield will now be for the teams under the B team. The B team is going to be set up by Postecoglou to be run exactly the same way as the first team. So if the first team train attacking drills on a Monday, the B team will do it Monday. If they do defensive on a Tuesday, the B team will do it Tuesday. If they play 4-3-3, the B team will play 4-3-3, and so on, which is great because everybody needs to be in tandem. If you take a player for the B team to come in and try and replace first team player, and they're playing in like a 4-4-2 formation, and you're trying to put them into a 4-3-3, there's a bit of consternation there at the start. So if everybody's in the same kind of wavelength, that's great. So Barrowfield is what it is. It'll be good for the younger ones still to play on a kind of ordinary bit of grass. We don't want to be too spoiled now by going and playing in fucking lovely big developments. Let them go to Tory Glen or something if they want to do that. But Barrowfield's fine the way it is. Sorry for my wee rant there. Excuse me.
Not at all. And in other news, I think it's Thursday, the 14th of July. That's when the new home tour is going to be on sale at the Celtic store, and probably all the other shops as well. I don't think I'll be in a mad rush to buy this one. And that's not because I dislike it, just that I've been buying far too many tops recently. I'm going to calm my jets a wee bit. Egyptian King, what did they say? We should rename Lennoxtown, to Tommy Burns. I think he'd be the most popular person to name after the Tommy Burns Academy, Tommy Burns Academy. That'd be
he did a lot of work, mate, getting Lennoxtown built. Basically, obviously, it wasn't just to him, but it was one of the big kind of four figures in getting that done. He travelled over to Ajax back in the day and saw how the model for the training pitches and this and that was great for developing players. If your training pitch was better, then you train better type thing. So he was one of the main players in getting that built, along with guys like Peter Lawwell and all that. So it would be very, very fitting, in my opinion, if it was to be named after Tommy Burns. So I agree with that.
Hey guys, well, the clock is ticking and we're almost at the hour mark. As we said, we've got the game tomorrow, Bannock Ostrava, and then I believe the following game is Blackburn Rovers. Let me just check. the 16th. Aye.
Saturday sees the return of John Dal Thomason to Glasgow. The
Aye.
Blackburn manager.
He's taken over Tony Mowbray as the former Blackburn manager. So aye, it'll be interesting to see. In fact, I remember being at Parkhead for a pre-season friendly, and it was Blackburn. And you know who played for Blackburn before he signed for Man U? That big centre back. Phil Jones, aye. At that point, he looked a really good player, but then he got tons of injuries for Man U, and it went downhill. But Blackburn Rovers Celtic, that was a long fucking time ago, that. So you guys, anything else you want to discuss before we bring it to a close?
No, I think we've touched most of what we've wanted to touch on this week. New players coming in, the games. Yeah, we've touched everything. It's pre-season stuff, isn't it, guys? What more is there to talk about?
Yeah. Right, okay. Well, next Tuesday we'll be back on another Tuesday TikTok. I hope everybody is enjoying their summer holidays, enjoying the good weather. Have a good one.
I take it,
lads.
I take it we're not making any promises for Saturday this time.
No promises. Let's stick to the Tuesday TikToks, and if there's a surprise one, there's a surprise one. Until we kick off with the official competitive games.
The weather's too good to know. So go and enjoy your games. We'll all meet up on Tuesday, and we'll fucking rehash the shit out of it.
Are you wearing a jumper, Paddy? Is that an actual jumper?
Oh, it's a hoodie.
All right.
Oh, that's what we're going to bring up. The fact that Ange Postecoglou's ditched the
jumper. Aye, big Andrew's ditched.
I went and bought one as well.
So did the old Dasbo.
Aye.
So jumpers are no longer in vogue. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he's right in. He's got the fucking training pants on and everything, the joggies, t-shirts. Aye.
Definitely. Right, okay, on that note, fashion note,
I'll tell you, man, this has turned into a fucking fashion show, this, man.
Three handsome, fashionable guys right here. Of course.
Aye.
Yes.
Did you notice my monkey was up, Gav?
Oh man, it's so far away.
That's the monkey, mate.
What, has it got a name?
Percy.
I do like that. Right, next Tuesday we're back on and we're talking more than usual. Have a good one, guys.